How y'all doing, y'all? I am Omari the Rebel.
And I am the Big Pink Pegasus.
And this is Tribe Chat, the lifestyle brand podcast where we give perspective on sex and alternative lifestyle from the black perspective. We make you think, we make you laugh, and we make you come. We wanted to introduce some of our. We have a few guests joining us today because we have a lot to cover. First, I want to start with introducing our guest, Miss Glamazon Tyomi Morgan. Tyomi is a certified sexologist, authentic tantra practitioner, and international pleasure coach with 9 years of experience in the sexual health field.
Her down-to-earth approach to sexuality has garnered the views of millions of eyes around the world via her advice-based YouTube channel and interactive social media presence.
She is the founder of the sex ed blog Glamouratica 101 and emphasizes sexual empowerment of black women worldwide.
Tyomi's advice has been featured on several platforms and traditional media publications, including Essence.com, Ebony Magazine, BlackDoctor.org, Huffington Post, Comedy Central,
The New York Times, Shape.com, BlackLove.com, Vogue, Cosmopolitan, The Washington Post, Lily Carter, Clear Channel Radio, CBS Radio, Sirius XM, Playboy Radio, and dozens more.
That's right. Tyomi currently serves as the resident sexpert and seminar coordinator for the Exotica Expo and is a member of the National Coalition for Sexual Health.
Yes. Welcome, Tyomi.
Welcome. Beautiful. You are so beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, look at this.
Also joining us, we have my brothers from the Hard and Soft podcast.
Hey, look at this.
Orlando most recently began his journey in podcasting industry in 2019. From there, he's taken off head first. Originally working behind the scenes of Tahoe's So Shameless podcast, the two cultivated a relationship that would smoothly transition into hard or soft. Prior to hosting his show, he curated content for OnlyFans as a sex worker, landing him in the top 5%.
The top 5.
He offers the perspective of experienced sex worker that is open to speaking about his vast sexual knowledge and hope of inspiring others to also go on their sexual journeys and create the understanding that men deserve.
So Tahoe is a seasoned media personality that has been in the entertainment industry for 13 years.
Oh, gee. Having
worked behind the scenes for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Celebrity Apprentice, Making of a Band, and My Fair Wedding before entering the podcast industry. On this show, he offers the candid perspective of heterosexual black men that is unlearning taboo ideologies around sex that is perpetrated by the black community.
I didn't write that, by the way. I don't know who
it's
wrote
okay.
That, but I couldn't read it. You're doing a great job.
You know, Tahoe is far from inexperienced in the bedroom, but now the audience gets to watch him explore the world of kinks and share his experiences.
God,
so welcome all.
He's good.
Whoever wrote that shit.
How y'all doing?
Is something untrue there?
Listen, I was just.
I
was like, what is a tattoo ideology?
Yeah. Tattoo ideology.
I was like,
my
what is
tongue
that?
slip up.
Yes, I love your outfit, Miss Morgan.
I do as well, and I love what's hanging out of your outfit, Miss Morgan.
Oh, well, thank you. You know, they're like half in, half out.
I get it. You know, I get that shit.
What's the inspiration for the ears? Is it Easter?
Yes, today is Easter.
Ishtar.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Damn, I get so high.
Yeah, I know. She and I have a history.
Oh, word? Tell us about it.
Now, Tyomi came on So Shameless a few years ago. She was one of my biggest guests. She was years ago. I used to interview a lot of people, and she came on and she brought her then partner and spoke about a lot of things with sex, and it just blew my mind. And actually, afterwards, can I tell you, Tyomi, you scared the shit out of me.
Oh, I did?
You scared the shit out of me.
You literally acted like you weren't scared, though. So
no, afterwards,
well, women will oftentimes do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, afterwards, she, like you said, she does tantric sex classes. or sex education. Right. And she was like, listen, you would be good for that, because she's trying to open me up, right, to this mindset.
So you must be.
But I was like, is she trying to fuck me? Like, what does this mean? What is tantric? Like, what is tantric class sex? Like, what is this? And I was scared to death. I never told you that. I never told you that, but I was literally scared to death of you.
That's a good segue. Oh, wow. So can you tell us a little bit about what you do and as a tantric?
Look at you blown away. I'm sorry.
And as a practitioner, about some of the services you offer and how you got started?
Wow. Okay. He threw me all the way off with that. That's crazy.
My bad.
I started my career out as a sex blogger and YouTuber, and back in 2011 when I launched my blog and YouTube channel. And since I've evolved into doing even more things in the space. So I'm also an erotic content creator. I have an OnlyFans too.
Yes,
and
love it.
I'm in film school right now, my last year, moving into producing more original content for my brand. But as a tantric practitioner, I actually work with single people and with couples to help them experience more deeply connected sex and to teach them how to become their own healers using their sexual energy. And as a body worker, I also do energy work and tantric-like massages, specifically Nuru massages and erotic massages that just encourage people to relax into pleasure. So not showing up to perform or do anything like that, but just really staying within yourself and just enjoying being served and, doted on and all of that. And as a pleasure coach, I just help people experience more pleasure in life, not even just in their sex lives, but overall. Because when I work with clients one-to-one, what we often end up focusing on is the mindset around, just like mindset, period. And then we start delving into, things from childhood and things from previous relationships. And so before we even get to the sexy stuff,
right, you got to uncover those
go back
engrams.
into the traumas. Yeah, we got to go back into the traumas and figuring out, how did you arrive here? And then how can we go back and reclaim those parts of yourself that have been locked in those traumas so that you can take that part of yourself into the present and then start building a better relationship with self. And I do a lot of social media chats. Lately, I've been pulling back a little bit because I'm restructuring my brand. I mean, I'm literally going to be 10 years in September being in this thing. Yes. So now that I'm operating at another level, thank you. I'm switching things up, but one of my most prized pieces of curriculum and most successful products is teaching women how to ride dick.
Yay!
Yes, the cowgirl class. I want to ask you about that.
I'm very passionate about teaching women how to stroke back because, number one, women get theirs. When you're on top, number one, it's one of the most powerful positions because it is a power shift, literally.
Exactly.
Secondly, as the one being in control of the motion and the speed and the depth of penetration when stroking, you can, hit the different pleasure zones inside of the vagina and you know exactly where to hit if you know your body.
Right.
Thirdly, I don't just teach how to stroke. I help women build confidence in their bodies because I teach a lot of women who are plus size. So I get a lot of women, I'm a thick woman, I don't know, people get it twisted because they see me on a small, screen. They don't know that I'm 5'10" and a half.
God damn, you's a treeness.
It's a glamour zone. She is very shapely too, man.
Yes. Thank you. And so just helping women become more connected with their bodies and getting in shape. And when I say get in shape, I don't mean I'm trying to make you a certain size, just strengthening the muscles and helping you become flexible so that not only can you ride better on top, but in all the positions that you're going to be put in, you can hold it, you have stamina, and just how to stroke back and be active. There's nothing wrong with being a pillow princess. And when you really want to put it on them, you got to know how to do the hips. Yeah, so I have right now 500 clients that I coach on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, and the tribe is growing. And I've taught this class since 2016. It's been a sold out international tour since then. And COVID caused me to have to put everything online, but it was the best decision that I could make for my business because now more people can actually access the class. So that's my passion, teaching women how to ride, because I remember when I felt fucking embarrassed the very first time I was ever asked to ride dick. It was literally, I had just started having sex with partners. And it was this is in New York too. The third person I had ever had sex with asked me to get on top, and I was like, white flag, hold on, I don't know what I'm doing.
That New York dick was intimidating, man.
It was intimidating because I was just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I admitted
it was intimidating. It was her first time.
Exactly, it's my first time. I didn't know how to move like that.
Sorry,
you know what I mean? Taking dick is one thing.
Anybody else aroused in here?
Yeah,
yeah, we all.
She got the whole four of us salivating. I think definitely. That goes without saying.
I wanted to bring Orlando in because you were talking about because you said there's nothing wrong with being a pillow princess. Let me ask you, content creator, how do you feel about what she said about what it takes to ride a dick and a stamina and such? Do you meet a lot of pillow princesses when you perform? Like, what type of performance do you usually get when women are riding?
Are you asking in his personal or for the content?
For the content, the personal.
I don't. That's a good question. I don't necessarily meet a lot of pillow princesses because I think it's the fact that I kind of like take control and I maneuver certain things so that they feel encouraged to want to like do more than just like lay there. Like I've had some where they don't really want to move much, but then I just maneuver in the position that I feel the most comfortable. So I never really even notice it. Sex. Yeah, I don't really have bad sex. I put forth the initiative to make sure that my pleasure is covered and hers.
Tahoe, how you deal with the pillow princess?
Doesn't necessarily mean it's bad sex. It's just she's not as active. You know, it could still be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If she's real submissive, I could probably get into that.
But I mean, it depends on what you ask. It depends on who you ask or what it is they want, you know. Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right. Pillow princess it does not necessarily have to be bad because I found myself in situations where people want your ass to stay still. They want you to not move. Yeah. I don't do that. I don't do well with that. I don't do well with that.
I've bring your lazy ass pussy into my bed. No,
sit the fuck still if you want this to last. Like, you know. But I get it.
But I can say this, like for me, sex starts like before intercourse.
Absolutely.
So then when you're prepping, when you're having like certain conversations, when you're sending news, just doing little things that like really turns her on, it makes them feel more motivated. It makes them want to like be more prepared, put on makeup, go get a wax, put on lingerie. And then when you're about to be in the act and you're doing things of encouragement, saying, still talking, still doing foreplay, head, like when you do it all way before the intercourse actually happens.
He's a therapist. He's a sex therapist. I'm just a person that
loves pleasure.
But do you hear the way he's going step by step, the preparation, like it's the thought process. All of that is
he always such a gentleman, Tahoe?
I don't even know if that's called a gentleman. It's just prepared. He
knows how to woo.
There you go.
He knows how to.
He really knows how to.
Well, let me get into our first segment. All right. So how we usually begin the show is with Habari Gani. So with a little bit of Swahili. And Zuri Kabila is also Swahili for beautiful tribe. Habari Gani, if you're familiar with the term, is what's the news. So I want to do this news a little bit different since there's a lot to unpack, and we'll do this layer by layer. So we'll start with Saturday Night Live. Daniel Kaluuya, according to MSNBC News, Daniel Kaluuya hosted an episode of Saturday Night Live that repeatedly took aim at, Representative Matt Gaetz, the congressman under investigation for possible sex crimes. Gaetz figured in as early as the cold open, during which Cole Finman reprised her Britney Spears impression of "Oops, I Did It Again," a fictional take on the talk show, also featured Lil Nas X and Pepe Le Pew as guests. All right, now Chris Redd played Lil Nas X, who has faced criticism from some Christians for his Monterio "Call Me By My Name" music video, which I want to ask all of y'all about in a few, and which features the singer sliding down a pole into hell, dancing on the devil's lap, and a lawsuit from Nike over the sneakers containing a drop of human blood. The one thing is, just do it. Well, did it, Red Lil Nas X said moments before dancing on Mikey Davis's version of God 2, as Feynman Spears suggested to even things out. Kate McKinnon showed up as the costume Pepe Le Pew, the character cut from the up-and-coming Space Jam sequel, as he was accused of having normalized rape culture. I actually been thought about that when I watched Pepe Le Pew growing up, like, you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
speaking as the cartoon, McKinnon added, "If you think I'm the problem, I have 2 words for you, Speedy Gonzalez. And you didn't hear this from me, but the FBI is 99% sure that Yosemite Sam was at the Capitol riots." All right, so
I'm done. I'm done.
They be going there.
all right. First, what I wanted to get into was this, though. When I brung you on, I've been following you for a while, you know, and having a group of sex positive individuals, I wanted to weigh in on something. I wanted to weigh in a little bit on homophobia in the black community. I've seen there's a lot of pushback from, it's a chart topping song from Lil Nas X. I was getting my hair cut today and they were just talking about, yo, did you see the new video? Like, nah, don't watch it. One of the dudes in the barbershop was talking about, yo, I like Old Town Road. Like, it's a good song. But, what I wanted to really unpack, I know he's getting sued because he had a copyright infringement issue because, like, Edmund, you can't just put Just Do It, book What the Fuck Studios. They're going to tell you to take that shit down. They definitely are. But when it comes back to the pushback, I know we're, 1, in a real hyper-masculine society, and 2, America, even as modern as we are, we're a really hyper-religious society. You know, this is we're on the foundation of Christians. I want to ask, Tyomi, what do you have to say about some of the pushback that Lil Nas X is getting for his video?
I just want to know if, I know comparing black boys to white women is just like, you can't really, but I mean, Madonna's done the same thing. Marilyn Manson has done the same thing. And the world was not outraged by it. But when a little gay black boy does it, now everybody's up in arms about it. And when I looked at it, I was like, okay, during the pandemic, you know, because I follow Lil Nas X, and I noticed that he had been going through a really hard time because he had this mega hit and he was starting to get on the downside of it. And what I've noticed, just like culturally, when artists start to go on the downslide, they always do something for shock value. Yeah. And it seems like they always turn to the satanical stuff. You know, and so I feel like I personally don't feel any way about it because I'm just like, okay, this is your choice and how you want to express yourself artistically. And you knew that it was going to create shock value and reverberate throughout the world. You knew that Christians were going to talk about you. You knew that non-Christians were going to talk about you. You knew that people who praise Satan were going to talk about you. So you did it to get into the public spotlight.
And now you did it.
There it is. And what else is underneath that? I'm just like, look, I'm not going to spin my wheels trying to figure out what this boy is really trying to say. At the end of the day, it is art. And anybody who feels offended by it, it's really not anything that Lil Nas X did. It's really just a reflection for you to go in within yourself and ask yourself, why do I feel so offended by this? You know, I'm at that point in my life now where when I see things like that, I'm like, if I feel triggered, then that's a me thing. Right. Because he literally just put it out there and now the world is interpreting it. If he was to sit down and give his perspective of what it all means, then it would be completely different than what everyone thinks. But people get really touched about Satan. And it's funny because I actually read something last week. No, it wasn't. It was this week about Satan. That Satan was actually an angel that was the attorney for God in the book of Job. And I grew up Christian and I didn't even know that. But that at some point, Satan got turned into this demonic. And I was like, damn, for real? So it's interesting. We never know how deep people go into their research of things and why they use certain symbols that they use. Of course, we're going to tie it right to Illuminati. He's pledging his allegiance, Yeah. Okay, whatever. End of the day, I'm just like, he did it for attention. He's getting it. And I hope that this lawsuit doesn't take him down.
Word, man. But the copyright infringement does seem like he doesn't have a lot of leg to stand on. You was going to say something, Tahoe?
I had a few things to say. Tyomi really covered a lot of it, but at the end of the day, for one, I'm a Christian. But I'm a Christian because I believe in Christ. Yeah. But I would also like to point out the hypocrisy of Christianity, the Catholic Church, the way that they push that on, especially black people. Like, he used this video. There were so many small things in this video that really meant something. And we're talking about gay people. We're talking about gay black men who, although it may have been okay and accepted for women to be lesbians, especially if they're femme, right?
Yeah,
especially if they're femme.
Talk about the hypocrisy all day, man.
For gay black men, they still banging on the door. Transsexual women, they're still banging on the door, trying to be seen as more, trying to be accepted as human. We put these people in a different place. He did these things in the Garden of Eden. The song is about forbidden love. Mm-hmm. We're talking about the gay community having been always told, you're going to hell. Exactly. You're going to hell. It's okay for white people to do it because, let's be honest, homophobia in the black community, we see it a lot more. I'm not in the white community, but in the black community, we see it a lot more.
I really want to talk about that, man.
I would love to weigh in. I am so sorry. I would love to weigh in. While everything that everyone is saying is 100% true, the gay community is really pushed to the wayside in the black community. It's not as accepted as it is everywhere else. But one thing we have to 100% acknowledge is that there is an agenda afoot against our young boys. That it just is. And that aside, we already know that. But even in the heterosexual community, how much sex is too much? And are gays just sexual beings? Like, I understand, him wanting to express the way that he sees the world seeing him in his sexuality. I get that. But is all you are sex? Is all you are sex? So I'm asking that question because it was so sexualized. And you're a young man. You're a young man. So you have you're the Pied Piper right now. You got all the kids, going after you. They're listening to you. They're admiring you, your freedom and your willingness to speak about what it is that is you. But at what point do we say, all right, let's get the fuck off of sex? There is more to being gay than just
But let's be honest that we know
everybody, not just with the gays.
But that's what we're talking about right now.
Coming out with songs, we need to keep that same energy.
Absolutely.
Like, you're more than just sex. Like, we don't need to wait until a gay dude to come in. Like, when he comes with the one song, like, because like when we listen to a majority of the music in hip hop culture, we have this hyper criticism for this guy because he's in the LGBT community.
I don't think it's just that. I think it is also because of the agenda being pushed. So now
what is the agenda?
What agenda?
The agenda to emasculate the young black men and boys.
How do you emasculate a young boy?
How do you emasculate a young boy?
Explain.
You emasculate a young boy by allowing or even perpetuating feminine ways to them and onto them. Now, listen, I am for. What am I for? I am for inclusion of gender fluidity.
Listen.
I'm for that, but I don't think it's everybody. And when you make that the topic of everything, then it's like, okay, now this is the cool shit now.
The concept of emasculating a young boy.
What is a feminine trait?
Yeah, it's like, you kind of with that statement.
What exactly classifies as feminine traits? Because this is where we're at right now in life. It's like every single last thing is being examined. Cartoons, old scripts, like literally there is this reckoning that's happening right now, and I'm seeing it where because the world has shifted into where gender is now fluid. And it's not just male, female, feminine, masculine. Yes, all of us have divine feminine, divine masculine trait. But what exactly is a feminine trait? And why is it so bad that men?
I don't think it is so bad that men have feminine traits, but I think it's really, really bad when they are the predominant trait. That is what that's what my issue is. Why do I think that's bad? Because we have natural, it's natural stuff.
But aren't you in the gay community? Aren't you a member of the gay community?
Am I a member of the gay community? I just said to you that I'm okay. I'm absolutely.
Are you 100%? How do you identify?
I am bi.
Okay, so you're a member, and this is the thing. A lot of homophobia comes from, unfortunately, black women. We're talking about. You're literally talking about not allowing men to be free.
No, I'm not.
You're saying like that their personal selves, they cannot express themselves the way they want to because they have to exhibit some sort of they got to be locked under the guise of toxic masculinity. You have to act this way.
Really far.
You have to act this way in order to identify as a man. You have to act this way. That is what defines you. Took away
from it. No, that's not what I said. I'm saying about feminine traits, feminine ways. Like, okay, so lipstick, makeup, nails, and all of those things. Those are what women do. Those are adornments for women.
Let's be clear here.
It used to be worn by men.
But it used to be worn by men.
Yes, and in ancient
wigs were worn by men.
And also,
first of all, ancient Egypt, you didn't wear makeup. You wore henna under your eye to protect you from the sun.
What I have to say is this: what about those brothers who have those feminine traits? What about them?
No.
Where do they get their represent? What about those black men?
Absolutely.
Where do they get to see themselves represented?
So
if they feel like they have to aspire to this ideal of masculinity.
No. You missed the whole thing. You missed my whole thing. I thought I was very clear in saying that we know that there are naturally gay people. We know this already. I'm not. But no, what my issue is making this okay for everybody. Listen,
but what
making it okay is the problem?
No. Okay,
boys who don't identify as gay, but they may be more connected to feminine traits. Feminine traits, are not necessarily anything that identifies a woman, but it's just a balance, and those men can be completely straight. So because I hear this all the time, and no one can ever give me a straight answer about what are the feminine traits, aside from appearances, what are the feminine traits that are actually being pushed on young black boys to somehow make them gay? Okay, so I don't think it's just that to make them gay, but just to emasculate. It's like I said, listen, boys rough and tumble. Not every single one. We know that already. We know that every single little boy is not rough and tumble, but for the most part, this is what they do. You have taken it. We have policed these boys to the point where they can't even. You can't even. What is it I'm trying to say? You can't even exercise the natural masculine stuff that you don't have to teach the boy, that just happens when they're together. This is not a learn. I'm just talking about what's a natural.
If I may, real quick. Tyomi, if I may, real quick. I'm sorry, Queen. I don't mean to speak over you, but if I may, I'm very old and I lose track of my thought fairly easily. Queen, black men, right? When you say we're emasculating in this agenda, I think about the way we identify our masculinity, where we learned it from, and how we push it on people. We oppress women with that. We oppress gay people with that. We are literally taught that you have to be this way and any other way is negative. And that may not be what you're saying, but you have to understand, to the untrained eye or the thoughtless person, that's what they get from that, and they are aggressive with it. So now they reject their instinct. They reject their feelings. They say, this is bad. You know how many men out there get their dick sucked and say, but I'm not no F word. I'm not this. That comes from the thought that if they're found out their natural feelings, that something is bad about it. And what you're saying is, when you're saying they're trying to push this agenda, I believe that what he's doing is being his free self and telling them, you can be your free self. They've pushed this ideal on us for years, that if we're this, we have to go to hell, and we're the bad guy for being our free self. They've accepted that and said, you know what? The same way us black people say my nigga, okay, that was a word used to oppress us. So the same way we've said, yo, you know what? I'm taking that from you. You don't have the right to use that to oppress me anymore. So he said, you know what? They said, you know what? I am going to be more You don't like it? I'm going to go further. Wait a second. You think I'm going to hell? I'm going to go fuck hell. Now what you going to do? Now how you going to oppress me? I'm taking the power away from that. And to Tyomi's point, when you say, hey, he's trying to make a point and he's trying to do that, you know, that wasn't easy. That wasn't something that was like, that wasn't something that was like
the risk to his career.
The risk to his career.
I don't even think there's any
far
real
greater than the reward in this world.
Serious?
No, I'm dead serious,
There's places where you can get killed for being gay.
I'm sure there are places you can get killed for being gay, but at this point, you are getting rewards for being gay. At this point, you're getting rewarded.
How are you? All right, so we need to bring somebody from the LGBT community.
They deserve the reparations.
And ask them, in this world, how do you feel? Do you really feel like, all right, so being, and this is what is even considered an other. The reason why they have a flag in the community is because we've pushed them out. Do they really feel like they're being rewarded to this, or there's still basic fundamental rights and civil liberties that they're still fighting for?
Right.
Because, I mean, what is the reward? What is the reward in being...
Well, like I said, I feel like it's an agenda being pushed. So if you are gay, you're gonna go further. They're gonna allow certain things. Now, granted, there is a lot of controversy about this, but I promise you, nothing negative will happen to this man's career. If anything, he's gonna get so much more.
If there's an agenda, then how come there weren't so many successful gay artists before?
Because the agenda wasn't before, it's now.
The first time a gay basketball player came out was just a couple of years ago. If there was an agenda, why haven't they?
Like I said, it's not before, it's now.
Can I say one thing? And this might help. I don't want to further this conversation. I'm pretty sure we have more to talk about, but it is something to like think about once I say this. We always talk about the emasculation of such or whatever it might be. But I think the reason why this is always such a hard conversation to have is because nobody can ever really define masculinity in itself. Exactly. So it's even hard to define what is actually emasculating when we don't actually know what is masculine at that. So we've been taught that what we actually thought or was taught was masculine was actually a lot of toxic traits for young boys to do. When we say like, oh no, he's just flirting when he's actually like touching up on a little girl, or the boys are just being boys when they're being a little bit too aggressive. Stop crying and things like this. These are all very toxic things that we've taught like little boys that we thought were masculine. So now when we get to this point, we actually have to rethink what actual masculinity is. It's to the point where I wear crop tops. I identify as a I hate them. So I identify as cisgendered male, but I wear crop tops. And then some people will tell me like,
we're going back to the 80s, y'all.
Right.
That's not masculine. And I'll tell them like, so tell me what's masculine. Because what I know is masculine is doing what you want when you want, not caring about what anybody else thinks, of course, and feeling comfortable within yourself. Would you consider that to be masculine?
Yeah, and Apollo Creed had the crop top, man.
But the point,
the niggas in Houdini.
But the point of me saying all that is, by me putting a crop top, I'm covering all things that people would consider to be masculine. So we have to reshape and rethink what we actually think what masculinity is. And then we can consider what emasculation is at that.
That's fair.
Speaking of masculinity, right? Moving on to my next segment, I wanted to talk about something else serious. Jizz. No, seriously, for real. I got Yeah, yo, do y'all say that word jizz? You ever?
I'm old, bro.
Tell me, do you say the word jizz?
What generation that
I
was?
don't say jizz, but I know the word because of Saturday Night Live and
Yay.
Lonely Island, and
They don't say nut.
No, they say
That's some white
jizz.
boy shit. Jizz.
Saturday Night Live?
But listen, check this out. Since I didn't use the word, look, I got bored and I looked up the word jizz on YouTube, right? And it led me to a YouTube video titled "Making Fake Jizz for a Porn Video." All right, so there's a Vice docuseries called 24-Hour Intern, and in this episode, a young intern of color worked as a production assistant for Anatomic Media, a fetish video company that produces custom videos on behalf of a private client that wants to see their fantasy come to real life. Yo, the theme of this video was called Mannequin Blowbang, in which mannequins...
I can't.
Nah, look, mannequins
I will
come
not be a part
alive.
of it.
Mannequins come alive and get together for group oral action. It was one woman performing with two men and three women, all with fake penises that could ejaculate pseudo semen, right? Yeah. So I was just overwhelmingly impressed by the specific amount of detail that went into this project.
They're enthusiasts for everything.
Yo, even at the Fetish Kink, there was a typical like porn storyline where it was a serial killer being hunted for killing mannequins and shit. So in addition, per the client had specific detailed requests. The main actress was required to wear a specific wrist, which was only available to be ordered in the UK, as well as specific shoes with specific laces that had to be visible on camera, able to be seen to be partially loosely laced. And after, the intern had a brief like weed smoking session. He smoked weed with the director, right? And they gave the rundown as far as his duties for today's scene, which the guy had to stand off the camera while injecting a mixture of lubricant and water in a syringe into a tunnel which was fed into the actor's mock penis. In short, he had to make the fake dick jizz on cue. It was quite a high quality production. It involved costumes, a script, multiple high definition cameras, just like up in here. I couldn't stop myself from chuckling at the completion of the video when after the group sex act with multiple mannequins, the client requested an additional shot. Two of the male actors, they gathered side by side the female actress and lifted her off her feet so the camera could get a close-up view of both feet slowly entering a specifically requested all-black hard shoe as glob after glob of fake jizz poured out of the sides of her ankles.
So
A sex positive... Listen, as a sex positive public figure, I didn't have a problem with anything I saw at all. And then I thought to myself, that other stuff is one thing, but making someone wear wet socks with shoes, you sick motherfucker. No, I'm just playing.
my feet just cringed at the idea of that.
First of all, no. Just no to the whole. No.
I wonder how much the client paid for that.
A lot of money.
I'm sure.
Specific. It had to be a few thousand. For
I'm
that.
so
Yes,
sure.
it was definitely.
If not more.
Because the production, it was like, the scale of the production, it looked like it was a couple of 100 feet. The actors, they all looked like they had experience and shit.
So
and
you got a thing with mannequins and fucking shoes and nut. That's
Yes.
that's a lot.
He was on the
It was
side
the
of the camera.
shoelaces for me. It was the shoelaces. Like,
Right.
there are people out here who have very detailed fantasies like
They
that.
do.
Where
They do. I love those people.
they have to see that because that gets them off. Like, it's something for everybody out here.
Somebody in the
It
YouTube
is.
comments was like, I like this guy. He knows exactly what he wants and shit.
Yeah, he was very
That sounds like
specific.
a person with a bunch of rabbit fur just laying around. I don't know why rabbit fur.
Since
but
we
just
on kinks and
that.
shit, so Orlando, how weird does your videos get? Like as far as kinks, how much experimenting have you did?
It goes as far as it can go. My kink is actually enjoying kinks. It's just doing kinks. So I've gone as far as blood play.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you safely do that?
Yeah. So on the podcast, Hard or Soft Itself, we actually had a friend of mine who's a nurse come on and draw my blood and put it in a tube. And then when I was ready for it, I was having sex with a partner and I opened it, poured it on her chest, then wrote my initials on her chest, and we had sex. And as we like laid on each other, like the blood smeared like in between both of us. So I'm into blood play, and there's really no limit for me.
Did you clean up after that shower? You had to do laundry, right?
We just go take a shower.
Well, so are you into period sex then?
Into it.
Don't you tell that story.
Like it's blood play. I'm just saying.
I'm not like into it. I wouldn't say into it, but I just don't mind it. Like there was a moment where I was having sex with a partner and it was completely dark. So we're having sex and I'm like, damn, you're so wet. So I like slipped out and I rubbed her pussy and then I licked my hand. So we kept going. And like a little light shone through like the window and it looked a little red. So I turned on the light and I pulled out and it was like the blood was like everywhere because we were having sex for so long. And I looked at my hand and all you saw was a red hand with like the lick mark.
What it tastes like?
But did it turn you on though? I mean, being into blood play, like did that turn you on?
Yeah, it just did. I didn't mind it, so I was like, "Yo, maybe this could be a thing like going forward." So I was curious about it, so I was like, "All right, my curiosity is there. Let me try it and see if I'll do it."
And it didn't weird you out.
Didn't weird me out at all. The blood play was fine.
Weirded me out.
I'm sure.
Nice.
I get the heebie-jeebies every time he tells that story. It's like,
Yeah, man.
why?
So what are your kinks, or do you have any?
Listen, like I said, y'all know older black men, we've always had we're stringent on our sexuality. We don't explore very much, right? So like I said, even when Tyomi told me about this sex tantric class, she was like, I think you'd be perfect because you're still stuck in this certain place. And, I knew she had a man. So I was like, I don't feel comfortable exploring sex with you. You got a man. Like, I'd never been to a sex party. I never, like, I was like, what is this, right? But since then, like my girl at the time, was her birthday. I hired 2 doms to come to the crib. They worked her in front of me. I couldn't get hard. Like I was literally just sitting there like blown away as they spank and gave her rules and yell and she's screaming over there. And I'm just sitting there like so I went to my first Tyomi. I went to my first sex party. I barely could
gotta come to
perform
our sex parties. Tyomi, we would love to have you.
Say when.
When the next time you're gonna be out in the East Coast?
The wind just went right out of his sail. I don't know what happened.
I just know.
Next week.
Yeah.
You gonna be around next week?
Yes.
Can we hang out consensually?
Yeah.
Consensually.
Because I want her to give me permission to be in her presence.
Yay.
I'm gonna switch.
Tyomi, do you dom?
That just
Do you dom, Tyomi? Do you like to dom, man?
Switch.
Yay.
Oh, you was stabbed? Yeah, because she was talking about
She
that.
said switch.
Tyomi is also a twin. Don't you have a twin sister?
Yeah, she's in the other room right now.
Yeah.
Oh, word. She also. Oh yeah, I follow her too. She's also on OnlyFans.
Oh my gosh.
Miss Becky.
Nah, he was talking about that last week on the show. He wondered. He has this thing. Tell the story. Tell the story.
I have this curiosity, and I wonder if one twin has good pussy, does the other twin have good pussy too? And I want to try.
I can affirm, okay, because I can confirm because we shared a partner once.
Yeah,
I gotta hear about this.
You are so sexy, baby. Oh my god.
One night after a concert, we both shared the same partner, and said partner said we both have good pussy. So I was like, okay, not that I've ever had sex with my sister, but I can affirm that yes, this is, at least for us, this is a thing.
Right.
I can't speak for all twins.
But one could be better in bed than the other.
Yeah.
And that would depend on who you ask. I don't think anybody's sex, the goodness or the badness of it is just universal. I think it's individual specific. Somebody with really, really, really good head, somebody else might say that's the worst fucking head I ever got in my life.
I've had good
Never
head.
heard that in my life.
Me
I've
either.
had a woman who at the time, when we were first dealing with each other, she gave me like really wag head. And then right before like we stopped, she like, I guess I had done something and she liked it. And she just started pulling all these tricks out the bag. It was just drool and spiderweb spit everywhere.
I love that.
Working. And when we was finished, I was like,
why didn't you do this before?
where did that come from?
Exactly.
Like, why?
Like,
Like,
before we look, we about to get ready to get up out of here. Glamazon, tell me, can we know about where we can find you and what you got going on now?
Yeah, so I'm launching my online academy, thepleasureacademy.com. I'm launching that this month. And I am actively training women how to ride dick and feel more confident in their bodies and to get in shape on members.thecowgirlworkout.com. Producing more content for YouTube, relaunching my blog, glamouradica101.com. And you can find me on social media at Real Glamazon Tyomi on Instagram and at Glamazon Tyomi on Twitter. And my YouTube channel is youtube.com/glamouradica101.com. I live in Chicago, but I do travel. Even in the midst of the pandemic, I'm still moving around a little bit. So, hit me up online.
I will.
I have so many different sources for people. I also do one-to-one coaching, and I'm an ordained minister. So I am now.
Girl, I love it. I fucking love it.
I officiate weddings. So if you are anyone out there,
I think you're gonna save my soul.
Yeah, I can. I'm a minister of love.
Not mine.
You
DM me, please.
So you guys,
we have to talk.
Speaking of platforms, you guys will let us know about Hard and Soft and where we can find y'all.
Well, they can find you.
We
know
have
to get you.
Hard as Soft Pod on Twitter, Hard as Soft Pod on Instagram. We also have patreon.com/Hard as Soft Pod, and our OnlyFans page is also Hard as Soft Pod on OnlyFans.
Or just Hard as Soft.
I'm be on that.
On OnlyFans. I am Tahoe _TV on Instagram, Twitter, and everything. And my friend,
I am Dear Orlando Roye, and you can listen to Hard as Soft podcast anywhere you listen to a podcast. It's a great place for men to speak about sex, love, relationship, accountability from the guise of a very well experienced man right here is Tahoe, and me, a very open man. Go ahead.
Very quickly, the reason I speak at our OnlyFans is that we actually do tutorials on the show. We've had women come on and show us the squirt. We've show us how to use toys on them. Show us bondage. We've been bonded on the show while we record, and all of these scenes go up on our OnlyFans.
Yo, I'm gonna come fuck with y'all this next week. As a matter of fact, it's in Brooklyn. We're gonna have a little. Me and Hard and Soft. We're gonna have a little guys on that. We're gonna chop it up a couple of things. We're gonna talk sex parties and shit on this Wednesday.
All right,
y'all. It was a pleasure. You guys listen to your devices. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter, Instagram, OnlyFans, and our Patreon. I am Omari the Rebel.
And I am the Big Pink Pegasus.
And this is Tribe Chat for and Zuri Kabila. Thank you guys and keep following us.